People really thought that vampires existed, especially in Eastern Europe. And while the thought is exciting, it was just tuberculosis, rabies too, and even cholera. Let us talk. In ancient times, the term vampire did not exist. In fact, the act of blood drinking or pale-looking people was attributed to demons or spirits who would eat flesh and drink blood. Even the devil. Ancient civilizations like Mesopotamia and Babylon had stories of blood-drinking demons, not vampires. The story of vampires began from ancient mythology, most likely describing blood-sucking demons, but was now used to try and understand victims of a series of various epidemics that had or shared a list of creepy, supernatural symptoms. The concept of modern-day vampires was first introduced during early 17th century, when suddenly an outbreak of rabies emerged, especially in Serbia, Hungary, and Romania. Symptoms of rabies included fear of water and light, aggression, hypersensitivity to certain smells, mirrors, and even light. Also, foaming or blood on the mouth, which are what are used to describe vampires today, at least in movies. Then, there was the cholera epidemic, where there were mass deaths in a short amount of time, and people had to bury their loved ones while they were still alive to prevent the spread of the disease. Cholera could put people in a coma-like state. Some victims woke up in coffins. Later graves were found with scratch marks, feeding the vampire myth again. Then, there was the dehydration making bodies look sunken and blue, then swell from gas later. Because of this post-mortem bleeding, people thought that the corpse had recently fed. In the 1800s, tuberculosis spread in both Europe and America, which made people look pale. Like, for example, a well-known vampire, especially in America, was Mercy Brown. The town of Exeter in Rhode Island experienced their first vampire experience, and they suspected a small family of hoarding one. Mercy Brown's family was struck by tuberculosis, and one by one they passed away. Her mother was the first, followed by her sister. Then she herself caught it, and so did her brother. The symptoms looked supernatural. They were ghastly pale, giving almost an ethereal appearance. They would cough all the time and lacked energy. So, when Mercy passed away, in March 1892, desperate neighbors forced Mercy's father to exhume the body. This was because they were convinced that someone in the family was feeding on the living. When they opened the graves, Mercy's mother and sister's body had decomposed naturally, except for Mercy herself. Her body looked strange, of course. I mean, she had been kept in a cold above-ground cryot because it was winter, and so her body was well preserved. Her face was also rosy, and her body still had liquid blood in her heart, and so they were convinced she was the vampire. But if you watched my first video ever, you'd know that where a body is kept can affect decomposition. So they used folklore rituals to cure the vampire, and that included cutting out her heart and liver and burning them into ashes, then mixing the ashes with water and giving the potion to Edwin, her brother, who was still alive. They believed that this would break the vampire's spell, but unfortunately he passed away a few months later,